The following is a live copyrighted presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time now for RadioLawTalk.com with your host, Frederick Penny, attorney at law. And now, RadioLawTalk.com.
Welcome back to Hour 3 of the most exciting, entertaining, and informative talk show on the earth. Well, wait a minute. Let me repeat that. Welcome to Radio Law Talk, the most exciting, entertaining talk show on the earth. I think I'm going to leave the informative out.
The preceding might be a biased endorsement.
Well, but I think the entertainment. Wait a minute.
I thought you were going to say.
I think the alien thing is a little more interesting than ours. The late night alien shows, like I said. So, let me repeat it. The most exciting, exhilarating, but not very informative talk show host on the earth.
Do everything but say give all your lovely adjectives.
Yes.
Non-alien oriented.
Oh, the most exciting, entertaining, informative, non-alien oriented talk show.
Perfect.
On earth.
There you go.
That's our new tagline. All right, I'm circling it. That's our new tagline. Boy, Hour 3 here, and it's Todd, myself, Denise, Chris Rodriguez. We got Cal and Seth. It's a beautiful day. Denise and I took a nice walk out. It's going to be 106 to 108 today. We're going to do a case or no case. We're going to talk about the union, the First Amendment rights of people in the union, concerning unions and whether or not you have to pay into unions. That came down, that Supreme Court case. Also, we're going to briefly, if we have time, talk about the travel ban, and then we'll probably get more into that next week. And then we're going to also talk about California splitting up. It's on the ballot that they're going to try to split it up into 3 different states. And what a mess that will be. And we're going to talk about the legalities of that happening and whether or not is it, even if it passes, they're going to be able to do that or not. And that's, we're going to get into the water rights, get into infrastructure rights and infrastructure, how that's split up, and we'll discuss that. Again, that's speculation, but it's very interesting. And then we're going to talk about Marvin Gaye's co-writers are suing Ed Sheeran for claiming that they stole some songs, copyright issues, or at least some parts of songs. We're going to get into that. And most important, we're going to get into case or no case, where last time Chris Rodriguez rocked it. You have his theme song for Chris Rodriguez. This is Chris's theme song. He chose this.
Now, coming on the field, ladies and gentlemen, Chris Rodriguez.
Yeah. That's me. Yeah. Okay, well, there you go.
How'd you guys do on case or no case last time?
I got 1 point.
I got 2 points.
3,
Let's
baby.
see.
3, baby.
Denise got 2. Fred got 1. Chris got 3. Todd got 2.
And
As they always say, look at the scoreboard.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Look at the scoreboard there.
What's the scoreboard again, Cal? Remind me.
Todd now has 49. Mr. Rodriguez now has 33.
Oops.
Fred has 44. And Denise has squeezed past Fred Penny with 45 points.
You know what? Denise and I are such good friends. I'm not worried about losing because if Denise wins, I'm getting some lemon.
Yeah.
How many points are we going to?
100.
Okay.
We got a long way to go.
Got a long way to go. But
This is a 50-point game.
It's a recurring bit.
It's going to go on forever whether you like it or not, case or no case. If you want to call in, call 855-LAW-RADIO, or you can tweet us at Radio Law Talk. Now, when we do case or no case coming up here in a few seconds, if you want to comment, just do hashtag Radio Law Talk.
That's right.
And then put your comment so everybody can see their comments, and we can possibly get you a T-shirt, right? Because if you call in at case or no case, if you call tweet, you do get a shirt, a Radio Law Talk shirt, and they are absolutely handsome shirts. Let's see, Mr. Call Screener, Seth, will you come take a picture of those handsome shirts in here and tweet them out and put them on our Facebook and put them all over the place of these 2 fine young men?
And just want to make sure that folks know it's the hashtag Radio Law Talk on Twitter. So you can check that.
Can you do it on Instagram?
Or you could do case or no case, too.
Well, if you do one on Instagram, you have to post a picture and then do that.
Okay, we'll take a picture of yourself. Well, they're going to take a picture of the the beautiful. Well, this is one of the shirts. We also have a T-shirt.
Now-
On the back it says "Who needs law school?" or it says "When you're tired of politics radio."
On Twitter or at Twitter? I mean, how do you actually post a tweet to Twitter? I mean, how does that work? You open up the app?
You go to the Twitter
First
either
spell it to
website
Cal.
or the app, and it's Twitter is spelled QSTTFFRNL. Z.
Yeah.
Twitter, common spelling. And after you've created your profile, you click on the make a tweet, post a tweet thing. So you're going to say something. You type out whatever you're going to say, and at the very end, you use the hashtag. Cal, that's the pound sign.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Trust me, at my weight, I know the pound sign.
Hey,
Okay.
Which really drives me crazy about the iPhone, because you have to double click on that other symbols to get to the pound sign. Do you realize that? It needs to come up front, don't you think?
I don't know.
Those are
All I know is Cal.
world problems.
All I know is Cal's got his slide ruler in there still, so I'm not quite sure he's going to get the Twitter going.
And a red pencil.
So if you do that, right? If you do that and include the hashtag Radio Law Talk,
So that's the pound sign,
then
right?
I can go to the search button and type in the search hashtag Radio Law Talk, and it will bring up all the tweets that have that hashtag.
Including the one I sent to you. Remember that?
Yes, I do see that one.
Do the hashtag. Throw that picture up on a hashtag, Seth. So anyway, okay. So let's do case or no case. Let's roll it.
All right, here we go.
Now it's time to play Case or No Case.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, now I take you to Walla Walla, Washington. February 14th, 2012, the Washington Onion Growers of the Palouse, that's the name, the Washington Onion Growers of the Palouse, have filed a lawsuit in federal court against several major onion growers in Idaho, North and South Dakota, and Nevada. Their claim that the term white onion is equivalent to the term Vidalia onion in consumers' minds, and Washington onion. They think that all of those three mean the same to a consumer. And therefore, they use a brand name for a patented strain of onion grown only in the Palouse Valley of Washington State when they label their product as either white or Vidalia. They seek an immediate restraining order to stop these large growers like J.R. Simplot and others from using those terms, and ask the court to instruct the growers from out of state to use the term Idaho onions, for example, or North Dakota onions, so as not to confuse the consumer and cheapen the onion growers of the Palouse's brand. And so I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, is it a case or no case? And I think because she now has the official almost lead, second place, I'm going to start with the lovely Ms. Dirks. Denise, case or no case? And if so, what is the outcome?
Okay, this is really up Chris's alley, so I kind of wanted to hear it before you
I know,
asked
that's
me.
why I went to you first.
Okay. All right. Well, white onion or Vidalia, that's that particular strain only comes from Washington. Is that what the facts are?
They're saying other people may grow them like russet potatoes, but if they do, they can't identify them as white or Vidalia. They've got to identify them by the state because Washington is well known for apples and onions, and they think it's
And sweet Walla Walla onions.
There you go.
Right.
Which are Vidalia whites or whatever. Yeah. So.
Okay. All right. So there's not enough detail here.
What are you missing?
Something that tells me it's a case. Okay. I'm going to say case just because it's very weird facts. And they're seeking an injunction. That sounds like it's real. And I have to say now outcome, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that, unfortunately, Walla Walla or the Washington onion growers of Palouse, I think they can't say that the white onion's only typical to them, so I think they lose.
Okay.
Well, we'll be right back, and I'm going to opine on the onion, and I'm going to peel back my answer.
Oh, brother.
We'll be right back.
Don't
Hey,
cry.
tweet us at Radio Law Talk or call us at 855-LAW-RADIO.
All advertising for legal services on Radio Law Talk are for California legal services only. Business needs growth to survive, and Accelerate You is in the business of growing your business. Accelerate You gets it. They have sales professionals, real top talent teams. Accelerate You has venture capitalists, and Accelerate You has strategic partners who roll up their sleeves and help you grow your business. It's what they do. They help people in business just like you. In fact, last year, Accelerate You launched 30 successful go-to markets for startup companies. With success like that, you can see why Accelerate You is able to only work with a select group of companies, perhaps yours. If you want to increase revenue for your business, call 916-BETTER-0. That's 916-237-7370. 916-BETTER-0. Come on, grab the phone. Make the call. Accelerate You. 916-BETTER-0. Again, call 916-BETTER-0 for Accelerate You.
I've got to get my car washed. This dirt, it just won't do. But I don't have no time today. I don't know what I do.
Man, I know this place right down the road. Quick, quack, car wash. Hop inside, let's take a ride and watch this cat and shine. Just come and see, I guarantee your ride will steal the show. Come on, quick, quack, car wash. Don't drive that dirty car. Quick, quack, car wash. They'll have you looking sharp.
This is Denise Dirks. We can represent clients in divorce, legal separation, child and spousal support, custody, termination of parental rights, step-parent adoptions, guardianships, and even conservatorship matters. Call 1-877-886-7186 for a consultation.
The law offices of Denise L. Dirks provide family law services in Northern California. When the law affects your family, call 877-886-7186. The family of attorneys at Denise L. Dirks is here to help.
Hi, I'm Frederick Penny of Penny & Associates Injury Lawyers. I bet you're tired of hearing lawyer commercials, so just relax and listen to music for a few seconds. When you or a family member has been injured, call 800-616-4LAW or see us at PennyandAssociates.com. See, that wasn't so bad.
Looking for a full day of fun for the family? You can't beat spending your day or evening at Golfland Sunsplash in Roseville, the premier family entertainment destination for all of Northern California. Pick from one of two adventure-themed 18-hole mini golf courses, then get challenged on our fast car racetrack. Don't miss Golfland's state-of-the-art laser tag arena, laser nights, and over 200 arcade games. The best in family entertainment, now at Golfland Sunsplash in Roseville. Golfland.com.
The following announcement brought to you by SacramentoLawyer.com. Finding the right lawyer for your particular needs can be confusing. With all the commercials and listings, and who's to say whether the lawyers there are even any good at what they do? So when you're looking for a lawyer, it makes sense to find someone local with the experience and expertise in that area of the law where you have a need. That's why there is SacramentoLawyer.com. SacramentoLawyer.com. At SacramentoLawyer.com, you just browse the site, free, and see the Facebook reviews on the firms you're considering with just a simple mouse click. That way you learn a little bit more about the lawyers there before you start making this crucial decision. And use the right tool to find the lawyer that's best for you by going to SacramentoLawyer.com. SacramentoLawyer.com. That's SacramentoLawyer.com. The attorneys you hear on the panel at RadioLawTalk.com are all licensed to practice law in California. But if you want a lawyer, no matter where you're listening, you can check our website, RadioLawTalk.com. There's a button there that says Talk to a Lawyer. Press it. It's that easy. And of course, we thank you for listening to Radio Law Talk.
All right, we're Walla Walla onions. Ooh, those are big onions. Now, just FYI, I think, and don't quote me, but I'm almost sure that Iceberg Drive-In, our sponsor, uses Walla Walla Washington onions for their
hamburgers.
No, their
onion rings.
Onion rings.
Are they red or are they white?
They're white, And they're massive.
You know those bloomin' onions that are like huge that you get when you go to some of those restaurants and stuff? What kind of onions do they use for those that like end up as a bloomin' onion that looks like it's a foot wide?
They use a white because they're sweet.
Okay.
You know, they've got a little bit of oniony to them, but they're also very sweet onion. They use the Washington or Walla Walla or whatever.
How do they do that? How does it
They got this cutter that just
opens it up?
Yeah, pretty cool.
Okay, give us the brief overview again, Cal.
All right, that is the Walla Walla, the Washington onion growers of the Palouse file a lawsuit in federal court against several major growers in Idaho, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nevada, claiming the term white onion is the same as Vidalia onion or Washington onion in consumers' minds. So these growers may not, they ask the court or pray to the court, I guess is one expression used. They ask the court to please stop them from using the terms Vidalia, Washington, or white onions on their labeling. Instead, simply call them Idaho onions, Washington onions, rather than Washington. They don't the consumer to be confused. Much like russet potatoes, I guess, Idaho potatoes are grown in Maine. And Maine growers at one time, I'm just doing some research in this, Maine growers at one time used to say Idaho potatoes from Maine. And they got injunctive relief to stop that right away. But anyway.
I missed the fact that they were calling them Washington onions.
Yeah, they weren't calling them that. Washington growers
White
said that when they
onions?
see white or Vidalia, it's the same in the consumer's mind as a Washington onion.
Oh, got
so
it.
we want to
Okay.
stop that.
Would you like to change your answer?
If it was Washington onions, yes.
Okay.
But it's not. It's white or Vidalia.
Fred, case or no case?
It's a case, and I'm going to cut to the chase. I think we're talking copyright, trademark issues here. I think that could be an issue coming up. Did they copyright, trademark those names? They're not going to be able to trademark, in my opinion, a generic name like white onion, or even the name Vidalia might even be too generic. So I think they're going to lose that case. So it's a case, and they lose.
All right, Mr. Cunin, what do you think?
I think that this case is so generic with so many details that this is not a case. I am going with the not a case option.
Oh, good one.
Yeah, you saw him smirk at the end when I said it was a case, huh?
I did not smirk at all.
You did. You went,
I have a cough drop in my cheek. All right, Mr. Rodriguez, go ahead.
So I was thinking about going down that path that Mr. Cunin has decided to go down. However, you used the company name J.R. Simplot. And growing up in rural California, I recognize that to be a legitimate agricultural organization. And so
Don't forget, he grew up in Idaho.
Given that, I'm going to say this is a case, and I'm going to agree with Ms. Dirks and with Mr. Penny that they lose, primarily because it's now 6 years after that lawsuit was apparently filed. I've never heard of an Idaho onion. I've never heard of a Nevada onion.
North Dakota onion.
I've never heard of a Wyoming onion.
Okay.
So I'm going to agree with Fred and Denise.
All right. So what I'm hearing,
yeah, how can you make this dramatic?
No. Well, I just want to make sure that we know that Denise says case and who prevails.
I said that the plaintiff loses.
Okay. Fred.
The plaintiff loses. Same.
Todd says no
case.
And Chris Rodriguez says case and
plaintiff loses.
Plaintiff loses. Well, those of you who said this was not a case, may I see by a show of hands? That would be Mr. Cunin and...
I got J.R. Simplotted.
Oh, Cunin is a stud.
Completely phony case made out of whole cloth. And so congratulations to you, Mr. Cunin. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Case or no case.
And we should have all known because you started to talk about a similar type of a case with a similar product.
Which was true, yeah.
And that's what you used to make this one up.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. And J.R. Simplot not only is a big agriculture, but also in Idaho, they pretty much own the whole state.
So what does Todd have now?
Huge in potatoes.
51,
in potatoes.
I believe.
So let's see. Todd gets 2 points. Well, that's 4 today, Todd. Very good.
It took a lot of courage to make that call, Todd. And as my favorite basketball announcer, Bill Raftery, would say, "Oh, the onions!" when a guy takes a big shot. The onions! The size of those onions!
Oh,
So
Unbelievable.
our score is Denise Dirks has 45, Fred Penny has 44, Chris Rodriguez has 31,
Thank you.
and Todd Cunin has 51 points, ladies and
Wow,
gentlemen.
he is pushing out.
1 point.
Get this man of Vidalia.
He is pushing out. That was pretty. That was some real. Took some real oomph to step out of the way from three of us and take that risk.
Well, if I didn't have a 4-point lead over the next person, I probably wouldn't have done it. I'd have played safe.
Oh, that was a good one. Hey, you know what? Let's talk about the California. We have a few minutes left. We're going to get into this in a little more detail, but California has just passed. Not passed, but the proposal on the ballot that's coming up in the November ballot to carve the state up into 3 distinct states. And now this has been going on. The state of Jefferson's up in Northern California. They're trying to succeed basically from California and split it up. I remember a stat at one time. California's like the 8th largest economy in the world, or the 10th or something.
I'd say,
but that's a pretty high number. California is a powerful economic base for the United States and for the whole world.
And Fred, as large population-wise, if you look at it, it's basically the same size as Canada in terms of population. It's almost 40 million now in the state, and more people than Canada crammed into this state. So it is huge.
Yeah,
and
Fred,
to get this matter on the ballot, they had to get a petition and have it signed by so many people in order to get it on the ballot.
Yeah, that's it. So we're going to come back and talk a little bit about that and what the issues are and whether or not that's going to be legal to do it. Water's a big issue. We'll be right back after this.
It's time for our bottom of the hour break right here on Radio Law Talk, but don't worry, we'll continue after this.
All advertising for legal services on Radio Law Talk are for California legal services only.
This is Denise Dirks. Can represent clients in divorce, legal separation, child and spousal support, custody, termination of parental rights, step-parent adoptions, guardianships, and even conservatorship matters. Call 1-877-886-7186 for a consultation.
The law offices of Denise L. Dirks provide family law services in Northern California. When the law affects your family, call 877-886-7186. The family of attorneys at Denise L. Dirks is here to help.
Hi, I'm Frederick Penny of Penny & Associates Injury Lawyers. I bet you're tired of hearing lawyer commercials, so just relax and listen to music for a few seconds. When you or a family member has been injured, call 800-616-4LAW or see us at PennyandAssociates.com. See, that wasn't so bad.
Business needs growth to survive, and Accelerate U is in the business of growing your business. Accelerate U gets it. They have sales professionals, real top talent teams. Accelerate U has venture capitalists, and Accelerate U has strategic partners who roll up their sleeves and help you grow your business. It's what they do. They help people in business just like you. In fact, last year, Accelerate U launched 30 successful go-to markets for startup companies. With success like that, you can see why Accelerate U is able to only work with a select group of companies, perhaps yours. If you want to increase revenue for your business, call 916-BETTER-0. That's 916-237-7370. 916-BETTER-0. Come on. Grab the phone. Make the call. Accelerate U. 916-BETTER-0. Again, call 916-BETTER-0 for Accelerate U. The cost of getting rid of garbage is high, and recycling products is lucrative. If you're a business or know of a business that needs an individual compactor or baler, call Northwest Compacting at 888-201-0911. If you already have an industrial compactor, baler, or shredder and need service, don't forget to call Northwest Compacting at 888-201-0911. Northwest Compacting, your full-service industrial compacting and baling company. Read more about them at northwestcompacting.com.
All right, guys, we need to have you read some lines for our disclaimer promo, but first, can anybody tell me what a disclaimer is? Oh,
Right then. Well, Denise, you go ahead.
Non uti concilius me oriere proquestis purpurium juris consult.
Latin, that's a nice touch. Thank you, Denise. Next time we'll try it in English if that's okay. Fred, how about you?
Cal, I don't want to read all this. Can't we just tell the people that we're discussing general legal issues and they should hire their own attorney instead of relying on what we have to say here?
Well, we could, I guess. Chris?
I'm not going to be there anyway. Why have me do it?
Let's have Todd do it.
Me? Read disclaimers? Why, I couldn't. The information you hear on Radio Law Talk is general.
The preceding promo was for entertainment purposes only. And if you want true legal advice, contact your own lawyer. Just a tip from your friends at Radio Law Talk.
Be sure to read our disclaimers on radiolawtalk.com as well.
What makes great jerky? Jerky that's moist, tender, and perfectly seasoned. And if you're looking for moist, tender, flavorful jerky, don't look anywhere else but River City Jerky Works. Only the finest ingredients and top quality meats are used in the preparation of River City Jerky. Do yourself a favor and order your River City Jerky Works jerky by going to their website, rivercityjerkyworks.com. River City Jerky Works. One bite and you'll be hooked. Quite possibly the best jerky on the planet.
I'm going to Quick Quack Car Wash. Get my car washed, make it quick, quack, pretty, shiny, sexy, just because I want to. Don't drive dirty. Going to get my car suds in the Quick Quack Car Wash. It's the Quick Quack, quickest and the cleanest by far. We're talking 3 skinny minutes sitting right in your car wash. 100 feet of claw, washing your car at the Quick Quack Car Wash. Any Honda, Mazda, Ford, or Chevy, Sauber, Cadillac, Quick Quack will spruce her up just like that. You'll be happy, looking snappy. You'll be glad you was at the Quick Quack Car Wash. Get on the web and go to don'tdrivedirty.com and see where you got your closest Quick Quack in the local area. Get in your car, get in your truck, get on the road, come visit the duck at the
Quick Quack Car Wash, where your car will always leave happy, guaranteed. They take pride in being clean and green by conserving and recycling the water they use, only at the
Quick Quack Car Wash. Quick Quack.
Go to the website, radiolawtalk.com. You can listen to the show there, and there's a lot of other good information, too. That's radiolawtalk.com.
All right, we're back. We're getting, before we know it, we're going to be over. We got a half hour left, but we're talking about the proposal of California being split up into 3 states, and this is a hot topic for a lot of people, especially those up in way northern California, that the water is really in Northern California. That's where the water is. That is power. In fact, I remember, probably 1990, in the early 90s, and I live on some property, and I have some property, and I met with a water master, and as I was looking down the ditch with the water going down it, he looked at me and he said, "Fred, look at that ditch and that water coming down." I said, "Yeah," and he said, "That is liquid gold." And I said, "Oh, yeah." And ever since then, him always say that's liquid gold.
Yeah.
The water rights that I have on my property are really just as valuable or more value than the actual property that I own.
There's more battles internationally between states over water than any other subject matter.
That's exactly right. So the big issue here is, okay, California splits up. How the heck do you split up a number of things? First, number one, how do you split up the agencies? You got prisons, highways, universities, CalPERS, which is a California state pensions. You got Cal Fire, you got California Highway Patrol. You get into the big issue of water supply. Who gets what water? Because don't forget, everything is interconnected. So the water, and especially Southern California, relies a lot on Northern California's water, but it's just not that. It's how it's transported. It's aqueduct and through the aqueduct and through the Sacramento River, through the Delta, down to the Bay.
Even
down
the breadbasket, even the middle of our state is so connected to.
And not only that, but then you've got Southern California. You've got the aqueduct they call it, the California aqueduct. But you have all these allocations that have to occur. And here's the one that I brought up. I was bringing this up and we were talking to some attorneys about it. And this guy's a land use attorney that I was talking to, and he does water rights. And then he looked at me and he goes, "There ain't no way this is going to split up." And I said, "Really? Why?" I said, "Water is important." He goes, "Nope." I go, "What?" He goes, Don't forget who owns a lot of the land in California, the federal government.
Yep.
How do you split that up? The feds own a lot of land in California.
I'll give you an idea of how difficult it is when you have this one. And this example I'm going to use is not splitting up. It was an order to consolidate. Way back in the 90s, each individual county used to handle their own child support system.
Right.
So every county had their own computer system and their own way of collecting child support, and the federal government came out and said each state needs to consolidate so there's a single system for the collection of child support. You don't have all this hodgepodge stuff going on. And California, I mean, look, it's great for Wyoming and Montana, these small states, kind of pretty easy to get that here. But here you had California with Sacramento, Oakland, San Francisco, L.A., San Diego, everybody doing it differently. And they hired Lockheed Martin, for crying out loud, to come in to try to create a system that would get everything together. And the best they could do on just a child support issue was 4 different systems that were used around the state. They couldn't even get all of those. And then finally it was taken over by the state and away from the individual.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
But my point is this.
Was that before the courts consolidated as well?
It was.
Yes.
But my point is this. It was so difficult on a single issue to have any sort of unity as to how something was going to be done. I don't see the complications in just the issues that we have raised here with water and land and prisons and CalPERS. And what a nightmare. What an absolute nightmare. I understand the knee-jerk reaction or the gut feeling behind why you want to leave. I know there are a lot of conservative voters that feel disenfranchised because their votes don't matter because it's a typically blue state, and I understand all of that, but boy, the splitting up of the state to achieve that end, I don't know that the bang is worth the buck. It'll be curious to see how it turns out, though.
So why do you think this is on the ballot? Do you think it's because of politics or geographically where the Republicans are or geographically where the Democrats are to give any particular political party more power?
Well, we just talked about in the last segment that we are now at, 40 million people in the state of California. And with 40 million people in the state of California, I guarantee you there are people in Northern California, Redding, Red Bluff, that are more inland as opposed to those that are on the coast, who do not feel like their values and their views are being adequately represented on the political level. They feel disenfranchised, and they would like to have a state, albeit smaller, more representative of what they feel. That's my feeling behind it. Cal?
State of Jefferson is actually doing a lawsuit right now that's trying to restore the California Constitution, because when California was founded, there was a bicameral legislature that mirrored the U.S. model, where there was a populace, the assembly, and then there was a state senate. Well, now they're both done by gerrymandered lines. They're both done on population, so there's really no need for 2 houses of the legislature. But up north, what do we have? We have, if you draw a line at Sacramento, there's no people really to think of. So we have 1 state senator and 2 state assemblymen for that vast geographic region from north of Sacramento up there. We have basically no representation, maybe 2 state senators. Under the old Constitution, there was 40. So it wasn't 1 per county, but it was the large counties only got 1, and the very, very small counties got together. They got a guy that they elected for 2 or 3 counties. So at least there was a body where the voices of each region would have to be heard in deliberation of bills. It doesn't happen now. Northern California is steamrolled all the time by the policies and procedures of the state. If they want water, they can say, hey, we got more votes in L.A., we're going to take your water. If they want the shut down logging in the woods, they say, you know what, we've got enough votes here from the urban centers that don't like the fact that people walk into the woods with a chainsaw. We're going to stop it. And that's just what's happening.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Cal.
If you look, and I remember I saw this when I was looking at a breakdown in the last presidential election of a county by county color-coded breakdown of where things were and what voted. If you looked at California and looked at the geographical land mass and just counted and just looked at the number of red versus the number of blue, you would have thought that from a landmass standpoint that it was a Republican state, red, because of all of the inland counties that were inherently conservative that voted conservative in the election. The problem is that while they occupy the greatest landmass, the greatest population centers are near the coast and down towards Southern California. And if you measure heartbeats and pulses, there were more people that were blue.
So it's interesting that Southern California's their metropolitan area, 1/4 of their water comes from Northern California.
Yes.
And here's an example. This is how it's complicated. So Dale Kassler, I'm going to give him a shout out, wrote a little article on, and he laid this out. He said, and this is a quote, "Look at the state water project. Built in 1960s by Governor Pat Brown, the project takes water stored at Lake Oroville." Those of you who don't know that are from Texas, we're all over the United States. That's up north, way up north. In Butte County, it runs down the hill to Sacramento River. Then it goes through the Delta. From there, it's pumped 444 miles through the California Aqueduct to the Bay Area and a few other regions in San Luis Obispo County, which is now heading south all the way to Southern California. How do you break that up? And a lot of it's coming from Colorado River, by the way. A lot of it, there's about, I think, 7 or 9 states that pump out of the Colorado River. But the water issue alone is going to be a mess. But then again, I'm going to bring it up again. Even bigger than that, what they haven't even figured out. And by the way, this initiative doesn't say anything about how this is going to be done.
Right.
I mean, but it comes down to, federal government owns a lot of land, and they're going to go, nope, that part that you're going to say is going to be part of Northern California, nope, we're part of California, and we're the federal government, and we're not going to allow that to be called Northern California. So there's lawsuits that are going to be flying like crazy, and then there's going to be lawsuits flying with the water. Southern California is already told and come out, and many people have said there's going to be lawsuits if you try to cut any of our water off.
Right, and here's the proposal. California is going to be replaced by Northern California, which includes Sacramento and the Bay Area. Southern California, covering much of the San Joaquin Valley, along with San Diego and Orange counties, and the state, known simply as California, will be a slimmed-down coastal area stretching from Monterey to Los Angeles.
Which is the bulk of the population.
Yeah, and also the bulk of the Democrats.
Right.
And right now, as a Democratic state, 2 million of our votes don't count.
That's right.
Nationwide, in nationwide contests. And how does the state succeed from the union and then get accepted as different states back? That's a really interesting question.
That's a legal issue. That's a constitutional issue, whether or not that's going to be allowed. And believe me, there will be lawsuits flying. And guess who's going to make the money, everybody?
The lawyers.
The lawyers. We'll be right back. We're going to talk about the unions in our last segment, and then we're going to close it out, and we're going to wish you a happy 4th of July, too.
We thank you so much for listening to us here on Radio Law Talk and on RadioLawTalk.com. Don't go away. There's more coming up.
All advertising for legal services on Radio Law Talk are for California legal services only. Business needs growth to survive, and Accelerate You is in the business of growing your business. Accelerate You gets it. They have sales professionals, real top talent teams. Accelerate You has venture capitalists, and Accelerate You has strategic partners who roll up their sleeves and help you grow your business. It's what they do. They help people in business just like you. In fact, last year, Accelerate You launched 30 successful go-to markets for startup companies. With success like that, you can see why Accelerate You is able to only work with a select group of companies, perhaps yours. If you want to increase revenue for your business, call 916-BETTER-0. That's 916-237-7370. 916-BETTER-0. Come on. Grab the phone. Make the call. Accelerate You. 916-BETTER-0. Again, call 916-BETTER-0 for Accelerate You.
This is Denise Sturks. We can represent clients in divorce, legal separation, child and spousal support, custody, termination of parental rights, step-parent adoptions, guardianships, and even conservatorship matters. Call 1-877-886-7186 for a consultation.
The law offices of Denise L. Dirks provide family law services in Northern California. When the law affects your family, call 877-886-7186. The family of attorneys at Denise L. Dirks is here to help.
Hi, I'm Frederick Penny of Penny & Associates Injury Lawyers. I bet you're tired of hearing lawyer commercials. So just relax and listen to music for a few seconds. When you or a family member has been injured, call 800-616-4LAW or see us at pennyandassociates.com. See, that wasn't so bad.
I've got to get my car washed. This dirt, it just won't do. But I don't have no time today. I don't know what I do.
Man, I know this place right down the road. Quick Quack Car Wash. Hop inside, let's take a ride and watch this cat and shine. Just come and see, I guarantee your ride will steal the show. Come on, Quick Quack Car Wash. Don't drive that dirty car. Quick Quack Car Wash. They'll have you looking sharp.
What makes great jerky? Jerky that's moist, tender, and perfectly seasoned. And if you're looking for moist, tender, flavorful jerky, don't look anywhere else but River City Jerky Works. Only the finest ingredients and top quality meats are used in the preparation of River City Jerky. Do yourself a favor and order your River City Jerky Works jerky by going to their website, rivercityjerkyworks.com. River City Jerky Works. One bite and you'll be hooked. Quite possibly the best jerky on the planet. The cost of getting rid of garbage is high, and recycling products is lucrative. If you're a business or know of a business that needs an individual compactor or baler, call Northwest Compacting at 888-201-0911. If you already have an industrial compactor, baler, or shredder and need service, don't forget to call Northwest Compacting at 888-201-0911. Northwest Compacting, your full-service industrial compacting and baling company. Read more about them at northwestcompacting.com.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke.
145 over 92, and then I had a heart attack.
150 over 90, and I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure sounds like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a heart attack or stroke are far from silent. Get back on your treatment plan or talk with your doctor to create a plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Everything's changed.
Brought to you by the American Heart Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
All around the world. This is Radio Law Talk. Radio Law Talk and RadioLawTalk.com.
We love when our listeners tweet us or call us, but Brian had a great point that he is correct, and I wasn't trying to say that this is a state of Jefferson. It is split up a little different. Go ahead and quote him. He's right.
Brian said the way that they're designing the 3 different states, he believes that it's to help the Democrats get more senators and congressmen for the Democratic Party. They use major Democratic cities to rig the vote. One state has San Francisco, the other Los Angeles, and the last is San Diego. It is not a state of Jefferson design.
Right, state of Jefferson is actually cut off, has part
Eureka.
of lower Oregon, southern Oregon in it, and then it cuts off farther north. And the whole point behind state of Jefferson is, yes, the state of Jefferson would get 2 senators.
That's
California would keep its 2 senators, and there wouldn't be any dumping 4 or 6 new Democrat senators into the U.S. Senate, which is what this plan seems to be. And remember, this was put forward by the same man that wanted to split California into 6 states election before last. So we all recognize that the state is big. It's so diverse that it's practically like a nation.
Bunch of countries.
Yeah, and we recognize that what's happening right now to many people in the disaffected areas is not satisfactory. However, to the majority, where we basically have single-party rule in California, all the constitutional offices are Democrats, the legislature is all Democrats. To the majority, they're saying, hey, this is just fine.
Actually, California is super majority. A lot of it's super majority.
That's what I'm saying. And to the rest of us, like me, Muslim in rural Northern California, we're saying, really? Really? Let's fix that somehow.
But we don't have enough representation in Congress for our population.
That's the point.
That's the point.
And in the California legislature, the very same thing. Don't have enough for our population there.
Now, that should be changed. I think that would be changed, to be honest.
I wish it would.
I agree. I like the idea of having more geographic representation.
Yeah. It's always struck me that it's interesting the name of our country is different in how it's made up than the names of any other country other than really the former Soviet Union. We're called the United States of America. And if you look at that name, it represents both unity and diversification. We're unified as the states of America, but it includes the fact that there are still separate states. Remember, the old Soviet Union was the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, which led to, they were unified for their overall goal, but you still had the individual states, the individual
countries,
the countries that made up that state. And there's no other. I mean, you look at Canada, it's just a name. Japan is just a name. Italy is just a name. United Kingdom kind of has that same idea where you have Scotland and England and all that all together. But the thing
United Arab Emirates.
The thing about California,
that's a good point,
that is unique, and what I think might scare people is that you have this United States, but recently what have we seen from California? Even though they're part of the Union, they've thumbed their nose at immigration practices. They've informed the federal government, we're not going to abide by this law, we're not going to abide by that law. They're suing the federal government. There's a bunch of things where, although they haven't come out and said, California's not come out and said we're ceding from the Union, they have said we're not going to play by the rules that everybody else, other 49 states, have to play by. And I think that when you have a state that has 40 million people, that, as Denise pointed out, and Fred also, is the 8th largest economy in the world if it were all by itself, there are some people, in my opinion, are legitimately concerned about a state becoming that big and that powerful, and why they would want it to break up to sort of keep it in check.
Yeah, in fact, one of our listeners made the comment that this is why the U.S. has the Electoral College, because if it didn't, California and New York would decide every single election.
4 population areas would have determined, and remember the whole wisdom of the Founding Fathers, at least from what study of the Constitution I've done, and it hasn't been law school certainly. The wisdom of the Founding Fathers was that we are the United States. California's flag says Republic on it. And the whole point behind that is every state at least one level in government has an equal say in the U.S. Senate and in the Electoral College. Instead of saying we're going to be a simple rule by mob, in other words, be a democracy, we are a representative republic.
Okay, now I'm gonna step on the other side and be the devil's advocate. So if that's the case, and you're saying, well, California, you're not being properly represented, then I guess New York needs to be broken up, because I'll tell you, New York, most of it in the city is where New York's going to get its votes. So the bigger populations, no matter what. So clearly in California, it's the Southern California, Los Angeles area, and it's the San Francisco Bay Area, the general Bay Area, or the liberal vote. And that is a lot of population. And same in New York. The most of the vote is coming right out of New York. New York. So I guess the argument is, well, that occurs in a number of states. Georgia, we know Atlanta pulls a lot of the votes out of Atlanta, and generally speaking, because that was a swing. The issue is a lot of liberal people in Atlanta.
But the point is, Fred, if the people want it, because we've got a resource-based economy in the north and a consumer-based economy in the south, and the interests are so diverse, if the people in the north say, please listen to us, and they say, no, we've got the majority, we're going to run over you, something has to happen. This country was founded by people who said, you can't tax me without me being represented. Taxation without representation. That's one of the founding principles of this country.
And I think the point you brought up was the important point, Cal, that is the only different than what I was trying to say, which is everything's up in Northern California, the water, the agriculture, the resources are Northern California, where in New York there's no necessarily resources that are like that.
They're not as diverse.
I think it gets back to people just feeling disenfranchised. They don't feel like they're being adequately represented. One thing to keep in mind, when the Constitution was first signed, when the United States of America was first formed, every state was very concerned about the strength of an overall federal government, because they didn't want to create something that would end up being what they were trying to get away from England.
A kingdom.
And state sovereignty. States, we hear that a lot, and I don't think it gets talked about or given enough credit. The word state sovereignty is used, but that's really, the states have a right over what happens in that state. And when you look to the Constitution, the 10th Amendment protects that when it says anything not specifically reserved for the federal government in the Constitution shall be left to the states to govern and rule on their own. I have heard people in this last election say not only should they abolish the Electoral College, but the whole idea of individual states voting, we don't even really need that. We're a country now, and everything should be federal. I heard pundits talking about that.
Status, yes.
And I thought that is
They're called status? Or I thought they were the Federalists.
That's Federalists too, but yeah, status. The state has all the power. The Federalist says we don't need the individual states. We want the federal government
That's right.
to have all the power. So
and that is the antithesis of the basis of how this country was formed.
Exactly.
But our country was also formed, and the only people that were franchised, if you will, were white males. There were a lot of people that were disenfranchised.
But Denise, that wasn't a country thing. That was a societal thing. That's the way the world was. And what you got to remember, we look at history and we try to apply today's standards to how things were done or written. I don't think we can do that fairly, because it wasn't just the new United States where women didn't have any power. It was England. It was France.
Well, they had queens. They had, there were way back then. There were females that were in power.
Property ownership and all those things. It was still,
I guess I would posit this question then. So take the Civil War, for example. So back at the time of the Civil War, if we did not have individual states and we had just a federal system at the time, and given the population centers in the South and what was going on in the South, if it was just a federal system and whatever the federal government wanted,
slavery would have still been
it would have still been here. It was the individuality of the state saying, hey, no, this can't happen and this can't happen and we need to stop, that actually led to that change. So while I agree that, we have different races and stuff like that, I'm not certain that a federal system is the best way to protect that. I think there's more evidence that the individual states are going to protect that even more.
Yeah, we're reaching the bottom of the hour, and we're not going to get to, obviously, the union case, and we're not going to get to the travel ban, so we will touch on those next week.
Yeah.
So listen in, because those very important decisions that came down
There's a
this week.
There's a number, Denise, of Supreme Court rulings. These are the two that they're talking about. There was a number of other ones that weren't quite so important, but are interesting, that we may touch on next week. Don't forget, it's a beautiful 4th of July coming up. Be safe. Enjoy yourselves. Enjoy your family. Don't forget to call us at 855 Law Radio, or tweet us at Radio Law Talk, or go to our Facebook page.
Yes, we'd like to thank all our affiliates. We're in Dallas. We're in a lot of different places. So thank you guys all for listening.
Yeah, we'll be back next week.
Happy 4th of July, everybody.
You bet.
You have been listening to RadioLawTalk.com, a copyrighted presentation of Radio Law Talk Incorporated.